Hello everyone, welcome to the Geoecologist. I'm Dr. Krishnanand and you have been watching my videos on various topics of geography on my channel, The Geoecologist. If you are a new user to this channel, please consider subscribing our channel and please go to the earlier videos in the playlist section. You can check for yourself and watch as per your need. Now in today's session, what we are going to discuss in political geography is going to be very interesting. So what is it about? It's about the resource conflicts, especially in context to India. So in today's lecture, we are going to learn about the various aspects of the water sharing dispute or the water disputes in India as famously known. So before we go ahead, also I want to share an information that if you want to avail the paid courses that is available on our website, that is TheGeoecologist.com, you can go there and check all the paid courses are available and the details are given. And now let's learn these various aspects of the water sharing disputes. So now let's understand and learn the details of these political geography of resource conflicts, especially in context to India we're going to learn. And the first topic is water sharing disputes in India. Now as we know that our country India is having a wide variety, or you can say diversity of natural resources. But with resources also is a flip side of it is how is this resource distributed and who's having the control over it. So it's not just about availability here, it's also about accessibility to the resource that we're talking. So there is a history of resource conflicts due to competing demands and interests. And the political geography of these conflicts is shaped by distribution of resources, power relations, and governance structures. So normally in India, we talk about these major areas of resource conflicts in the three main areas. One is the water sharing disputes that we are discussing in this session, and then we have land related disputes and energy related disputes. So this WLE, that is water, land and energy, has been the main core areas of resource conflicts and is studied in political geography of resource conflict. So let's focus upon the water sharing disputes in India and observe certain points. So the first point is that it is one of the most significant resource conflicts in India related to water. Imagine a water abundant country like ours also has resource conflicts related to water itself. It means what? There is an unevenness in natural distribution, and then there are institutions and politics around it which is leading to this kind of dispute. So what you observe, the increasing demand of water due to high population growth, industrialization, agrarian usage and intensification in particular regions of our country has given rise to something called water scarcity, or you can say water crisis even, right? And there is a competition for access to these resources. So what happens in political geography of the conflict of interests, or you can observe here the water availability, the unequal distribution of water and the contest between the governments have led to certain disputes in the past. So if you observe this Kaveri water dispute as an example, the century-old wrangle, so you can see the catchment area that is 802 km, the Thala Kaveri, and Karnataka, Tamil Nadu having the issues, or you can say the complexity between this because of the cultural identities, resource claims and state boundaries. So this is one of the areas which is oftenly talked about. Then what you observe is another major resource conflict is India related to land, and you know the example related to land in certain areas, especially where industrial development was supposed to be taking place. And in Odisha, you found that protests against land acquisition for industrial development happened. In Singur and other places also we have an example. So this is the second kind. And the third kind is resource related conflicts for energy and energy crisis. So what you observe here, the coal mining in the forests of central India. And I'm sure you have read the news several times what's been happening in the Himalayan region for this, where you have hydropower projects being established. So every time when there is a developmental project and there are people involved, powers involved, conflicts of interest involved, there is always a dispute, right? So what you observe is, let's focus on water sharing dispute now. So in water sharing dispute, one of the major areas that you'll always observe interstate river water disputes, and some examples as we have talked, Kaveri, Satluj Yamuna link canal and several others. So what you observe, these disputes are being settled by certain tribunals. Right? So the topics of water supply, irrigation, canals, drainage, embankment, water storage, water power, this is addressed by Entry 17 of the state list of constitutional provisions. Entry 56 of the union list grants the union government authority to regulate and develop interstate river and river valleys in the manner that parliament deems expedient in the public interest. So very important is, if the parliament is saying it's in public interest, it has to go further, it has to be done. Then second article 262 states that in the event of disputes involving water, what's the point here? Any dispute or complaint regarding the issue, distribution or control of the waters of any interstate river or river valley may be resolved by the law of parliament, and by the law, parliament may stipulate that the aforementioned disputes or complaints shall not be subject to jurisdiction of any other court. That's very important. So this is your constitutional provision where you have articles which tell us that how these disputes can be resolved and what are the legalities of it. So if you observe on the map of India, the certain disputes could be listed in just one map alongside the river map if you observe here. So if you see Ravi, Beas and Satluj, this area if you observe, and we have states like Punjab, Haryana and Rajasthan where the disputes is there. Then you have Narmada, so you have MP, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, so this is the area which is being covered here. And then you have the Mandovi area where you have this states concerned, Goa, Karnataka and Maharashtra, so this is very important here. And then you have Krishna River, so Krishna River water dispute between Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, so this is very important area again. And then you have Periyar water dispute between Tamil Nadu and Kerala here, so this is very important area. Then you have the Vansadhara, so Andhra Pradesh and Odisha, so this is the area where you have the conflict. Then you have the Godavari, so Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Odisha and MP, so many states involved here. And then you have obviously the Kaveri dispute where Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry, all of them get involved. So what you observe here, this particular case study of Kaveri water dispute and the tribunal award, what happened in 2007? How was this award given? So water allocation, Tamil Nadu got 419 TMC, right? Then what you observe is Karnataka 270, then Kerala 30 and Puducherry 7. This is how the dispute was resolved, and you can observe on the map. Then what you observe here, the mechanism for this interstate river water disputes resolution. So the resolution of water dispute is governed by Interstate River Water Disputes Act 1956. Now observe what is there. According to its provision, if a state government makes a request regarding any water dispute and the central government is in opinion that the water dispute cannot be settled by negotiations, then a water disputes tribunal is constituted for the adjudication of this particular water dispute. So this is important to understand, and this act was amended in 2002 to include certain things. What did it include? The major recommendations of Sarkaria Commission. So if you want to look into the details, you can look into the pages of Sarkaria Commission, the recommendations. So the amendments mandated a 1-year time frame to set up the water disputes tribunal and also a 3-year frame of time for the decision, right? So this is very important here. Now let's look into some of the examples we talked about and the year of these dispute and tribunals in India. So Krishna Water Dispute Tribunal 2, 2004, Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra and Maharashtra involved. Then Mahanadi Water Dispute Tribunal 2018, Odisha and Chhattisgarh involved. Then Mahadai Water Dispute Tribunal 2010, Goa, Karnataka, Maharashtra involved. Then you have Ravi Beas Water Tribunal 1986 where you have Punjab, Haryana and Rajasthan involved, and Vansadhara Water Dispute Tribunal 2010, Andhra Pradesh and Odisha involved. So these are the tribunals which were set for this kind of dispute redressal, as we know. And what you observe here, there are certain theories. So if you are learning political geography of resource conflict, especially with water issues, we must also learn the theoretical perspective. So what is the theoretical perspective pertaining to these river water disputes? Look into it. The first one you see here is the doctrine of total territorial sovereignty. So remember, this is one of the earliest. So this doctrine says what? It states that no riparian state has the right to demand the continued flow of water from other states, and that a riparian state can do whatever it wants with its water without considering how it will affect the co-riparian state. Now, if you observe this reading, it's very authoritative, isn't it? So what you observe, if you are a riparian state, and riparian word basically comes from riparius, basic meaning bank. So if this is a river and this is riparian states, which is there around it. So all the rights were given according to this doctrine to that particular state which is existing here, and the river first flows from there. So you have all the mandate here. Now what you observe, in United States. This is a variant of Harmon Doctrine. Now remember this Harmon Doctrine in 1896. Attorney General Harmon devised it to justify the United States decision to reduce River Rio Grande's flow into Mexico. That whatever you want in US you can do, nobody can stop you. So the Harmon Doctrine says that upper riparian state can use a portion of waters of any river that lies entirely within that state. It means the sovereignty theory here, right? And even if doing so reduce the volume of water entering the lower riparian state, it's fine, isn't it? So this sounds very autocratic and also very selfish, but that's the first doctrine that you observe here. So it basically grants any riparian state or the authority to do whatever it pleases to do with the waters that traverse through its territory. Right, but it was obviously criticized because it's not a welfare approach and it's also not justified or a rational approach. Right, so very important here. Then let's look into the second kind of theoretical perspective, the territorial integrity theory or the natural water flow theory. So what is this natural water flow theory? This theory holds that every lower riparian has the right to river's natural flow. Right? It means if you are in an upper riparian state and you are obstructing the water of lower riparian state, it's not natural justice. So without interference from the upper riparian, right? So you cannot interfere. This is territorial integrity theory, right? So what you observe here, it asserts rights based on natural bounty, right? And however, this theory cannot be applied fairly because it would deny the upper riparian states the right to use the water that flows through their territory. So now it's not justified for the upper riparian in some ways. So because if you alter the water, the lower riparian will question you that you are obstructing my natural right. So this happens here, and you see this is the LOC here, and we have this particular Indus River flowing here, and this is the tributary of Indus that flows. So if there is a dam construction here and if you are using water here, Pakistan always has a question that you cannot obstruct our natural bounty that is there, right? So many times these disputes keep being talked about, and we have an Indus Water Treaty. So third important theory, a prior appropriation. Now this word appropriation is very important. Look into this. The first user who makes good use of the water acquires a prior right. So first come, first serve basis, right? And the subsequent users can only take what the first user left behind. So it's simple ways, it's the first come, first serve basis, right? So water property rights are distributed according to historical usage under this doctrine. Very important to understand, right? And historically, if you have been using this water, all the rights belong to you, right? So this is something which is very interesting, and it affects both riparians' prescriptive rights are safeguarded. Right? So very important is, as a result, prior users given preference and right to use because of this appropriation. So this theory clearly favors the state that develops first or more quickly. Right? Now if you observe the fourth one, community of interest theory. Right? So what is this community of interest theory? It says the basin as a whole is thought of a single economic unit, and then it crosses state lines and water can be utilized in an integrated manner to the greatest extent possible for everyone's benefit. So somehow a holistic approach you can find in this community of interest theory, right? So what do you observe? The fifth one is the equitable use of interstate river waters theory. Now equitable, equity is the word here. So according to this theory, all parties involved should work together to use common rivers in an equitable manner. This theory also based on the idea that a specific drainage or area or interstate river can conceptually treated as a single unit regardless of the political boundaries or administrative lines that are dividing it. Right? So this is very important theory in terms of the health of a river as well, management of a river as well, right? So this idea ensures that all parties involved have equal rights when it comes to using interstate water. So this is more holistic approach. So what do you observe? From 1896 as we have grown into this present, the theories also have looked more towards holistic water sharing as well. So the riparian rights theory is the sixth important theory, and according to this theory, as long as there is no interference with the rights of other riparian owners, all owners that have that land and borders a stream or a river have equal access to water, and every riparian owner has the right to have sufficient water for this normal use to flow through its territory, and quantity and quality will be accordingly given. Now here is something which is the present state that we observe. But again, there is this sufficient water, and what is this sufficient water has not been defined. That's where the dispute arises. How much is sufficient for what state? So you can take a population into account, that my state's population is more, yours is less, so I have more rights of usage. And that's where many disputes arise again, for which you have to make a tribunal. So these are certain important theories which could help you in understanding it better. And if you're writing an essay or if you're writing an answer in certain examination, utilize one of these theories and also look into their criticisms as well, right? So India and Pakistan water disputes and cooperation, if you look into it. So Indus Water Treaty, IWT, it survived diplomatic tensions for nearly now 60 years. Remember, 1960 is when it was done. So recent upstream problems and water infrastructure projects have rekindled them again. So what's happening? Look into this schematic diagram. So here is climate change, here is socio-economic drivers, infrastructure development, and together when they're fusing, what's happening? Environmental change and increased water scarcity, and then leading to fragility and conflicts, and this is leading to the problems again, right? So because of the natural issues and also the socio-economic drivers, the newer issues are cropping up, right? So territorial dispute over Kashmir threatens to undermine the treaty at the same time. And remember, Himalayan glaciers worsening effects from climate change could make it disastrous, more likely, and put communities into long-term water scarcity. So this is very important to understand. And Indus Water Treaty, in brief, if you want to look into, it was signed in 1960, and all these details, if you want to note it down, you can pause the video here and you can note it down for yourself. So in the images, I've given you the basic idea that this is the main water Indus River here. Then you have the Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas, Satluj, and all of them joining here. Now on Chenab, what you observe here is a dam site, and remember, this is the Baglihar Dam on Chenab, and many times this has been part of the question, that how much do you limit the water, and a lot of things are here. So this is what you see here in Indus Water Commission. Every 5 years there is a general inspection, right, and regularly meets once a year, and there is a total meetings thus so far. So many times Pakistan has objections, and many times due to objections there is meetings held, and a lot of things happen. And also there is a history of Kargil war, and I'm sure you know about it. So read what happened to Indus Water Treaty and what are the other issues now happening in the area, right? So effect of water sharing dispute. What are the effects, possible effects? One is the issues with the environment that we talk about. There is a disagreement regarding the allocation of water resources, and because of which it has resulted in environmental issues, and there is a problem of sink. So what do you see? Caused by excess water in some locations, and there is clogging of drains and ineffective drains, as we know. So there are a lot of problems in certain locations because of excess water, while there is some area where you have complete scarcity of water. So this is one major issue. Then unrest in the community. So remember, community, peace, all these things are very important here for development, SDGs, right? But that is also a problem where you have disputes, where you have tensions between communities. And remember, farmers of both states don't have enough water to keep their crops alive while the governments are disputing it. So this is very important. Then conflicts at lower level as well. So dispute over the sharing of Kaveri River has resulted in lower level conflicts such as rioting and aggressive vandalism as well. So there is a problem of peace and community management as well. So communities cannot be kept at peace if they are in scarcity, and that is a lot of a big problem, or you can say socio-economic as well as administrative problem. And next, what you observe is the negative impact on the economy. The inefficient use of water itself and diversion of scarce investment resources have resulted into the delay in reaching a water agreement. And this delay leads to a lot of problems in economy, right? So these are the things that we need to look into. And in conclusion, there are certain points which you should always look into is that political geography of resource conflicts in India is not simple. It's a complex and multifaceted issue, right? And it is also multidisciplinary issue, right? So that's why in planning, in regional planning, in regional development, these issues have to be taken up by multifaceted approach as well. So understanding these resource conflicts requires a nuanced analysis. This little detailing is required of the historical, cultural, political contexts, and straight away you cannot have a for or against viewpoint, right? So you must understand what's the thing, and there has to be a dialogue and talks, and a robust and transparent institutional framework is very important to have a cooperative approach for resolving these issues and for long-term benefit of the society, development, sustainable development. So that's very important to understand. So now, when we have learnt and discussed about the various aspects of these water sharing disputes, in the next session to come, we'll be talking more on other aspects of the political geography of resource conflicts in India. So stay tuned, stay safe, keep watching and learning, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and also please go to the website to check the details of our paid courses. Best wishes.